All right, my friends, this is the final series in Group A. We know who is first. That is Yo. We know who is second. That is Doubt. We now need to find out who is third and who is fourth, because currently Valis sits at 8 wins, which is 3 above Daniel, but Valis, he's finished. If Daniel 3-0s here against Lix, he will go into third place, which means playoffs, and then the potential to win the whole freaking thing. But if he fails to win 3-0 like everybody else did in this group against poor Lix, Daniel will be in fourth place, which means back in Platinum for the next season. But I think there will be some disappointment for him because, remember, if he's competing for Valis for third, he already beat Valis. It means he would have dropped some wins elsewhere. Lix, it's been a rough ride. Lix is 0-12, okay? And it is confirmed that he is relegated. It is also confirmed that the player above him running is relegated at this point. And that's obviously going to be a bit of a bummer for him. But I'd be curious to see what Lix we see here today. Honestly, while Lix has been a little disappointing at times in TTL, I felt like the previous round was better. And honestly, my theory from the start was Lix didn't practice the maps, he didn't practice drafts, and I think he just showed up to play. And doing that when you're the underdog is potentially going to lead to disastrous results. And so I feel as though he looked better in the previous round, even though he got 3-0'd, probably because it was his 4th week playing the maps. That's my theory on it. And so that means the positive for Lix is maybe he can snag some wins. Now we've got Lithuanians for Lix, who's gone for the early dock approach. He'll be adding fishing ships. And we actually had Chinese for Daniel. And I was surprised we didn't see Chinese more frequently on this map, just because of how much food's on the map and how easy it is to get your eco started. And having spoken to Daniel, guys, he's really confident, or he was really confident before this season that he could make it to the playoffs. He said before he played any games, I think I can make playoffs. But he also said, I think I can beat Yo. Almost beat Yo. That was the series that really built up my confidence in him. He lost 2-1, but still got a win off of Yo. Then I thought, okay, Daniel's going to be able to even get some games off of Doubt. Didn't happen there. And that 3-0 looked a little rough for him and maybe shook his confidence a little bit. Now, I think Daniel's the heavy favorite because he's an elite player and plays with a lot of aggression. He also is pretty set on how to play most of these maps. But I think there's going to be one moment, maybe in every game, but particularly in the series, where Daniel maybe has the lead, things are going according to plan, and then something bad happens. I don't know what it's going to be, but, I don't know. Maybe he loses an army to a Mega L shot or something. And I feel like there it's going to be does Daniel, the more skilled player and the favorite in my eyes, is he able to bring it back from that? Or is he going to crumble? And honestly, Daniel's so good, he might just be all over Lix nonstop, and Lix will never have a chance to breathe here. We'll see. So, Daniel's docked as well. He was later to the dock. Has more villagers because of being the Chinese. Daniel's scouting here with his camel scout. And he'll be looking to see where Lix is. He will find Lix's woodline. My opinion on this map is that taking the hunts underneath the TC and focusing on land is more important than the water. Only 2 fishing ships for Lix. He clicks up. We'll see what he intends to do with the next stage. Could easily see him sending more villagers over to maybe take some gold. And if he takes the gold, which he hasn't actually scouted yet, that would indicate that maybe he goes for some navy here. 2 villagers headed this way, though. And Lix knows this is where Daniel's lumber camp is. And this looks like a forward to me. And this is the type of thing I've been wanting to get excited about with Lix all freaking season, is forward villagers and scrappiness. And guys, Daniel's pretty close with Lix and Yo and a lot of the players in the Chinese community. They play team games together. I'm sure they banter back and forth. They know each other very well. These two will know each other better than even I really know, because I don't really interact with them too much. Because I can't communicate with them. With Lix, anyways. And there's the 2 vills. Now, Daniel's scouting around. And Daniel hasn't checked the shoreline. He doesn't see a barracks or anything here. He's going to be rather confused, actually. Well, I'm a little confused. Barracks there from Lix. There's also a barracks from Daniel. This game's going to be nuts. They're both going to go man-at-arms. Does Lix have any scouting intel on that? No. Because he's looking for damage. And Lix, I don't know what he's planning to do with this barracks. I'm assuming it's just going to be an archery range because he's on gold. He sees the gold from Daniel. And, oh, this is going to be wild. Okay. They're both in the dark on what their opponent's doing. This is going to be nuts. Lix sees some goats here. Daniel hops out. Is going to bring the goats back. Well played. Here comes Daniel. Now the camel's the key to block. Daniel with way more potential for damage here, though, right? Like, Lix hasn't scouted the front and seen the barracks. Lix also hasn't scouted the shoreline to know if his opponent's going water. And Daniel's not committing to water, by the way. That one villager's still there. The approach from taking the mountain is really good, but it's just such a slow buildup. Whereas over here, it's about to be man-at-arms, and Daniel is not going to let villagers survive this. Oh, this is going to be brutal. Oh, man. Like, you kind of have to fight it off with vills because you have nothing else and your archer range is forward. But best of luck to you if you do that. Nice stonewall there, though, from Lix. And, hey, I mean, a little bit of walling to buy Lix some time could be good. He still has the threat of the archers on the front. But he's not producing any archers right now because he's so stressed out by this. Here the camels just kind of blocking Daniel's villager in, which is kind of funny. We do have a fire galley for Lix on the water. So he'll go out to kill Daniel's fish. That's a really good start for him. He's being so patient here. He's even building the blacksmith on the front. The fact that Daniel walked away, though, with the man-at-arms might be something we look back at as a mistake. I thought he was going to kill more there. He will make a fire galley of his own to protect some of his fish. If Daniel knew about this, he would obviously tower. I think in Daniel's mind, because he's seen Navy from Lix, he thinks Lix is on 2 docks making fire galleys. He doesn't think Lix is investing into this. And Lix is actually going to drop a tower here as Daniel brings forward his first archer, which means, of course, Daniel does not have archers at home, guys. And Lix now shows up with fletching and hits Daniel, and Daniel notices, and this could be playoffs done and over with for Daniel, and he wouldn't be able to make it in the first game of the series. When I said it, obviously I haven't seen the games. I didn't know like what would happen. I really didn't believe that Lix would be able to bring chaotic energy to this because I hadn't seen it from him yet. But oh god, this is going to get wild. Now, it's not so good for Lix either, right? Because Lix, he made a tower to defend his wood, but now he can't be on gold. Daniel's making a couple skirmishers to defend from the archers. These villagers are now headed elsewhere. And Daniel is killing villagers as well. He finds another villager kill there. There's another villager he's going to kill here. The eco KD is going to be 5-3. And oh man, like Daniel knows he's the favorite here, right? He's played Lix a million times. He will probably also feel the confidence of just being the better player. And not even what everyone else thinks. Man-at-Arm actually kills another villager there from Daniel. Very well played. How's the eco looking? Oh, so many vills. So many vills for both that aren't on resources they need to be on. They're both losing the mountain, and Daniel's going to clear this up, though, guys. He clears it up. I mean, the resources are awful. He's got 10 villagers in queue right now because of the stress. But, wow, the villagers that had actually walked forward are going to drop a tower. And as far as Daniel knows, Lix right now can take gold, which is the case. I wonder if Daniel will spot these villagers from Lix, because Lix is even coming over here for wood right now. Daniel's taking hunt in a lot of different areas. And does he know about the range yet? Okay, he's just about to find it. I really like the tower from Daniel. You just have to make sure you wall it in. And now he's going to know this is where Lix has been sending an army from, if he didn't know before. So, pretty bold from Daniel, as the fire galleys are going to trade evenly here. Pretty bold from him to go for the forward tower when your opponent could have a sneak. But he did have army to protect himself here, so that was probably the logic. There go the fire galleys. Yeah, he just spotted all of this, right? And he figures his tower's done enough. So he's looping this army over here. But, I mean, he's right underneath the TC. He's got to be careful. Farms are going to be needed. A market's probably going to be needed. Lix does not have gold income. But Lix has made more skirmishers than Daniel has in defense. So he's still able to push. He's also on the hill, so doing more damage there. But Daniel was microing here. It kills another Vil. And now I begin to worry for Lix. I like the energy behind the whole approach, though. Add the fires and sneak at range. I love the energy. Also, the defensive tower was good. But Daniel being able to deny the wood line and then scout. He didn't actually see these villagers. That would probably end the game. That was really impressive from him. Kind of feels like either player could use scouts right now. And Daniel may be thinking, all right, he's not over here now. He's not over here. What about gold? And, oh, Lix is trying to drop a tower here, and Daniel will find more villager picks. It has been all Daniel the last couple minutes. He's recovered very nicely. Here he has to defend still, which he's doing. Lix pulls away the weak villagers, though, which is impressive. Well played. Could have lost more. Tower, though, will not go up. And wondering if we will see scouts, right? Because everyone's got skirms. Look at Daniel's Vil queue, guys. I'm tempted to say Daniel will never go Castle Age. But it's because he has 10 Vils in queue. Because as a player, it's like make army, micro army, queue Vils. And you just don't think about the balance as much. That's the pressure of the moment. I'm sure if this was a ranked game, he'd have like 2 Vils in queue. He'd have a better understanding of how much food he has. And Daniel also unable to take gold right now. And there's the stable for Daniel. Lix completes a tower so Lix can take gold. I want to see res collected here. Res collected, Daniel's been well ahead. He's just held on enough. Does he know about the gold over here? He can see this gold, and he can't see this gold. So honestly, and a really nice tower here from Daniel. He actually needs to back it up because it's in range of Lix's tower, but honestly, I think it's doable for Lix as long as Lix has gold and can make a market. He can still kind of hold this area. I mean, I'm looking at the idle time. And now he can't take gold and, you know, maybe feeling like he doesn't have the chance. Messy, messy game. This can also affect your mindset going into the next game. Like, yeah, you can start off and you can be like nice and relaxed going into the next game because it might be a different map. But speaking from experience, when you play games like this, you get pulled into the messiness, whether you want to or not. Like, and Lix has that tendency to do that. He hasn't really done it, though, this season. So, at least he's going to go out playing towards his strengths here, which is the chaos. And Daniel will have forging on the scouts. He doesn't seem too scared of this at all. He knows his opponent can't make archers. And Lix still holding to that hill. Daniel, what the... Is he going to TC drop? I think these villagers were looking for Hunt, honestly. Huh? Is he going to douche? I honestly... He must feel like Lix has no wood right now. He probably is so confused on where Lix is taking resources. Lix is all over here. Daniel's got tons of scouts with his skirms. He's going to clear all this up. I honestly think Daniel's going to delete his TC. And TC drop here. But you wouldn't TC drop with 6 Vils. I don't... I guess maybe towers because he's got the stone. Lix tries to micro, but Lix does not have the army Daniel does. He does not have the strength. I think Daniel wants to put an end to this fast. So he's actually going to try and rush down this tower. Still looking for Lix. He must be so confused. Lix is all over here, though. Yeah, because he just can't see Lix's eco at the moment. Tower for Lix will go down. It's kind of an awkward spot for Daniel to engage in. There are archers inside that tower, but I think the Vils for Lix will get cleared up. Daniel now back on gold. The villager and then the archers that are in there will probably end up going down, though Lix is going to try his best. Daniel immediately pounces, though. And well played, Daniel, to recover. Still not sure what these villagers are going to do. He's really focused on this area, but he'll clear it all up. Might even want to consider walling in the ranges, honestly, because we know Lix isn't going to stop producing here because it's Lix. And Daniel just towering this position feels a little random, right? But it would just secure some area, and the GG's called. Daniel recovers after the sneak archers from Lix. That was really entertaining, though. The game didn't go on for that long, of course. But the man-at-arms being in for Daniel while simultaneously the archers hitting licks and neither player having a clue of what their opponent was doing. Those are the types of moments that could go any direction. And once Licks got the quick walls down and he'd only lost one villager to the man-at-arms, I was concerned for Daniel. But at the end of the day, Daniel having his range up fast and bringing the archer forward forced Licks into a tower, which couldn't protect the gold. And Daniel was able to stabilize with his own ranged units against Licks. And also, Daniel did a better job. While it was messy, he did a better job taking the food amongst all the craziness. And that's just Daniel's speed, man. Like, Daniel is really fast. It's going to have to be strategic for Licks today. And Daniel with 5,300 food brought in, Licks with just 3,800 food there. So, maybe it needed to be man-at-arms as well from Licks with the archers. I don't know. But Daniel gets the first win. He needs 2 more to go playoffs. If he loses one of the next 2 games, Daniel will just be in 4th place. All right, so here we are, game number 2. This is the home map for Licks, and he's gone for Land Madness. Now, that's a map that suits Licks' skill set because Licks likes to play open, messy maps. It also suits Daniel's skill set. And that is kind of the concern. I think that has been the concern for Licks all season. Again, preparation wasn't necessarily insane on some of the weird mixed maps that aren't in a lot of other tourneys. I don't know if weird's the right word. I think there's maybe only one map you could consider weird in the pool. And maybe that would be like Zawal or something. But anyways, like Licks was able to get promoted out of gold, playing a lot of these maps and being the better player. But he has now entered a different echelon of player in Platinum, and unfortunately for Licks, he's 0-13 right now. Doesn't have a single win. And there's a lot of Licks fans out there who are like, come on, Licks, show the people what you're made of. He tried that in the first game. Didn't work, but at least we saw the chaotic Licks. Portuguese, good Civ. Really like it a lot, and honestly, I think this could go either way. Civ-wise, the Portuguese have the cheap gold units, which is why they become strong later on, so cheap to make monks and knights and crossbows. Franks, though, feel a bit easier to play, in my opinion, with the free farm upgrades, the berry bonus, and the extra HP on the scouts. But if both civs are played to their full potential, I think you could make arguments Portuguese are actually superior here. Map-wise, it's Land Madness, so you expect things to be exposed. Berries and stone on the back for Licks, kind of nice. Woodlines all around. Daniel, 2 main woodlines to work with. Berries and gold being on the back is nice for him. But obviously, he's going to have to work for other resources as well. So, what's my prediction for ACCM versus Veleza later? Really tricky. I think I predicted ACCM 2-1 before the season. I mean, it's really hard for me to say that I'm that confident in that prediction now. But ACCM is the favorite to win the group based on the results. So, yeah, I would say ACCM 2-1 is my prediction. But that'll be a really good series. Between 2 players that could easily win the whole thing. Like, they're both that good. So the fact that, you know, one of them's going to go playoffs and have to play big name. The other one's probably going to win the group. It's a pretty big deal there. You think it might even be 3 for ACCM? Well, I would have said that after watching Veleza's first rounds, because it was a little bit below his high standards. But Veleza looked insane the last round, so it finally feels like Veleza is really getting into tip-top shape, and all the big names have just been getting better and better, so I'd be surprised if it's a 3-0, especially with Veleza's ability to play some of the more awkward closed maps, and ACCM kind of having a weak point there. I think Veleza would probably draft like Hideout or Zawal, and ACCM could struggle a bit more. And even if Daniel stomps this game and has like 35 kills, 0 deaths, it feels like a god. Could still all go wrong for him in the final game. The final game's Migration, by the way. A map that I'm in love with. I would think we've seen so many different unique strategies and styles. We have seen a lot of it, and I've had some people be like, well, T90, after watching all of Gold and watching all of Platinum, you know, the maps lack a little bit of excitement because I've seen them so many times now, and I suppose that's fair. Like, I would prefer to see more Migration games over, like, a Graveyards game at this point. just because of the small little differences. Actually, I take that back. Graveyards has actually been pretty sick as well. I don't know. They're both really good. I couldn't choose. I could not choose. But, Daniel said in my convo with him that he thinks Migration is the highest skill map in the pool, which is an interesting statement. And so that might be a map that, if he believes he is the higher skilled player here, that he might feel pretty comfortable on. But it was Daniel's home map pick. Lix obviously hasn't done too well in any of the maps, but he didn't look good on Migration in the past. There was twice he played Migration. One time it was someone else's home map, and I mean, according to some YouTube comments, I was maybe a little too critical towards Lix, but gotta say what I mean, say what I feel, you know? And, oh god, these two villagers the one villager being stuck is really stressing me out. But then it was like one of the other rounds, he picked it as a home map. And again, I didn't really feel like he was prepared there. So Lix is up, 18 population. There's the stable for him. And this should be a scout build. Just attacks Daniel there to make Daniel sweat a little bit. Daniel will go to build the stable. Lix still hoping to be annoying and delay the stable for an extra second or two. And he's trying it again. And now maybe you need to back away so you don't take more hits. Here's Daniel. Oh, Daniel's like, he's going to be like, give me those pigs. Give me the pigs. Shoot it with your TC. Shoot the pigs with your TC. That's what Daniel's trying to get him to do. Shoot the pigs with the TC. Well, Daniel's going to run away with the pigs here. And he's going to run in and doink, doink that one. And you just expect it, right? You expect it. If there's an opportunity, the guy's going to take it. 100 food dead in the sands now. Or grass or whatever this is for Lix. And then 100 food walks back to Daniel's base. Just cutthroat mentality from Daniel all the time. Lix is going to need something. He's going to need a couple spear hits on some scouts. Maybe more scout numbers. Maybe more scout upgrades. Just needs to get an edge here and snowball it against Daniel. It's hard when a player is 0-13 and they're up against someone like Daniel for me to have a ton of confidence that they can snowball against this guy. But Lix got here for a reason. He's an insane player. And he's got the skills to be able to get wins. I believe it. I truly do. Do I think it's likely with Daniel's level and Daniel's shape? Because he's playing incredibly crisp? Don't think so, but this is Land's Madness we're talking about. You look away for a second, things could go wrong. Did happen for Lix. He just got hit by spears, and Daniel's made a bunch of them. And Daniel now on the prowl with the scouts. Lix's initial scouts haven't accomplished anything. And Daniel will find himself in a similar predicament, though, with the offensive scout pressure. Because he will see the berries, think he can get kills here, and then see the spear. He sees one spear, and he immediately goes for it. He's like, I've got enough scouts to take this. The second spear, though, was there. Nice job from Lix to realize right away. Ooh, early archer range. Okay, early archer range and early gold. So this is going to mean less scout presence for Lix, because he will have way less in the way of farms after investing the wood into this. But he's going to go something like spear archer. Look at the farm count for Daniel here, even going to the second berries now, which I guess Lix has also done. I think the key to this is how effective the early archer numbers are with spearmen. If you've got like 3 spears, 3 archers right now, which is obviously tough timing to find, it would be really tough for Daniel to stop it. And Daniel's going to see the gold. He's going to then see the range, so he knows his opponent will do this. And yet again, it's like a single spearman. I will just attack it. You've made the spears, but you have to split them up. And because of that, I will punish you. It's kind of Daniel's thinking as he goes whoop right by the TC for a second. Meanwhile, at home, Daniel's spearman getting some hits. Lix struggling to keep up with it. Daniel gets hit by Lix's spearman, but Daniel has not lost a unit yet. Again, kills the spearman because it was weak from earlier. Sees another spearman goes in for the kill. Sees another spearman goes in for the kill. He will lose a unit, but it's 6-2 KD for Daniel. He has traded a lot of his scout HP versus spears, though. So he's going to need some type of answer against the archers. with Spearman. Honestly, right now is your moment to move forward if you're Licks. Because you can't give Daniel more time to add more scouts. You move forward with the archers and spears now. This is a good call. Because right now, you've got enough spearmen to defend from the numbers of scouts. You hope to get a bit of a snowball with this. Daniel still may choose to fight it, but it might not be as good a fight. Daniel sees it. And Licks not exactly reacting here. And I think Daniel just commits to the engagement. He's like, screw it. I have more scouts on the way. And Daniel just pounces immediately on it. Kills the archers. Kills the spears. And it's why you don't see early archer numbers too frequently on Lands Madness. Because players are already in the mindset of making so many scouts. The economy for Daniel is awesome. He actually added a range at home thinking skirms. But he doesn't really need it right now. So I think he's going to aim to click up to Castle Age here. Res collected, you'll see the food eco be higher for Daniel because of the berry bonus, but also the farms. Makes sense that Licks would have wood and gold. And Licks, realizing he's behind in the momentum of the game, and realizing as well that maybe moving forward could be a risk, he just stays at home, and he uses the market, and he clicks up to Castle Age. Really nice decision from him, because my thinking was if he moves forward now, Daniel would have enough to defend. The thing that gets weird is, like, you have 3 archers. Do you even want to make more archers right now? I think you just don't. I think you plan to go knights. Yeah, and there's the stable. I mean, I think it's a good call. Wait, he built it over there. I guess so he doesn't block farm space. That's smart. Daniel looking around, sees the archers, sees the spears. Has skirms out. Did Licks ever see the range? Licks never saw it. I'm sure he assumes it, though. The ideal for Daniel is to engage against the spearmen and the skirms before, or the archers, rather, before his opponent has knights out. So this minute, basically. Because having skirms on the field when there could be knights could be a problem. Daniel acting as though he can't deal with this. He's like, okay, I've got to back away, got to back away. But Licks doesn't know about the skirms, right? So Licks is now like, oh, crap. I've been baited. I thought I could push. At the end of the day, though, this is why it's good he didn't make more archers. So it's actually not horrible for him because this was going to have very little effect anyways. I would have preferred he be sneakier with it. It's a dead army walking. Running right through the middle instead of, like, sneaking to the sides feels a little awkward, but he's in the dark on what the potential is, and it's like Daniel's always looking here. Yeah, I don't know. Daniel might have lost a unit. There's a pig. He might have lost a unit to a wolf or something because of the KD. But in my opinion, this game has been all Daniel so far. Licks cannot boom because he does not have the stone. And his eco balance is all out of whack too. But he's Portuguese and he can make a lot of gold units. And lots of monks and lots of knights can snowball on this map. TC is going to go up for Daniel on the wood line, but they're still this exposed. They're still this exposed at the back. In terms of optimal play, Daniel should win this game. But Licks is not an optimal player at times. Daniel goes forward. He sees the 2 stables and he sees the monastery, so he knows what type of game this is. Actually, really important for Daniel to keep those scouts alive to kill monks. Really valuable. I think instead of getting relics or anything, Daniel needs to make sure he's healing his units up and just maybe use his 1 scout to go out and try and find monks. Licks is going to loop around this way, guys. And he's going to head into Daniel's gold. And I think Daniel caught a glimpse of that just a second ago as he'll send some spears over. Great defense from Daniel. Multitasking needed here from Licks because he's pulled the other knights away. And he doesn't notice this. He'll engage to kill the monk, which he will end up getting most likely. But he loses 2 knights there. Daniel with the villager lead. Daniel with the army lead. But Licks will have more knights than Daniel and more monks than Daniel. And we've seen a lot of monks and knights in TTL. Licks, don't get relics, bro. Push forward and get conversions. You're behind economically right now. You greedy, greedy boy. I might do the same. God, this is so exposed right now. This is exposed as well. Look at Lix, though. He's realizing I don't see army. I need to wall up. And here he could get a conversion. Does Daniel get a conversion here? Daniel looking for damage. There's no hole there. So good that Lix rewalled both sides. And here Daniel fights. He's using the scouts. He's going to go for the monk. Well played from Daniel. He will lose his monk, though. Could lose the scouts as well. Knight still hoping to get in. Lix still noticing. Lix is still in this game. Daniel scouts. Killing the monks. Say what you want about monks. But there is a counter out there in scouts. As long as you keep them alive from earlier. Oh, man. Lix is snowballing the knight numbers. Daniel's knights here had to run away because of the monks. And he did lose his scouts here. There's still exposed villagers here from Daniel. The all-in from Lix. And this is just power of the Portuguese, right? Because units are so cheap. All those gold units. This could work. Daniel's going to scramble over here for another TC on gold. Daniel, that does mean he's going to be off of gold temporarily, right? Which means he can't make more monks and can't make more knights. Such an important moment. Lix, is he paying attention? There's so many units on the field right now. Oh, man. Daniel's going to find those monks as they advance forward. And look at Lix's gold right now. That's wild. He's so all in here. Now, this is probably the point of the game. As Daniel sees this and is going to run away. This is probably the point of the game where Daniel should consider a second and third barracks. His monks at home, waiting for the knights. He'll get one conversion. He'll get two conversions. We'll lose his monks. But, like, I guess it's kind of awkward because your opponent can just convert pikes, but you have a good eco setup. He's just going to add some of his own monks, but I feel like maybe a few spearmen could be helpful. Look at Lix migrate over to this gold. Holy. And you know, Lix only has 10 knights. Daniel's on 11. Daniel with a 10 villager lead. This has been a great game from Lix, though, but a better game from Daniel. The moment for Lix to take advantage of, it feels like it kind of disappeared, right? Because he doesn't have the monk number anymore. And the knight number is even. So the eco is very much not. And Daniel here on the prowl with the scout. Looking for monks to hop out of that monastery. But he finds villager kills. Still looking. Look how attentive he is, guys. And he also has to defend at home, which he unfortunately fails to do. Does react, though. Has a monk ready to convert. And Lix is going to dive. He's done this a lot. Over here as well, Daniel got a conversion. And is also going to lose a monk. But, I mean, Lix, you gotta finish off this game here shortly, my friend. Daniel's economy has grown considerably over the last couple minutes. And I'm just not seeing a balance here for Lix, guys. He lost too many monks, and he wasn't able to get the value with the knights, and now the eco should be able to start to snowball things. There's the eco difference for Daniel. It is so impressive how active Daniel is. He was just doing little loops around the farming eco there in that monastery from Lix. He doesn't actually know about this. Daniel is probably very confused because he doesn't know where Lix is getting gold. I think he would assume that Lix would go here, but the fact that Lix is here probably never dawned on him. Another scout moves forward. Another scout will kill a monk. Sick. Runs away with the scout as well. And he might see the knights. He might sense at least that Lix is over here because of where the units are. More scouts on the way from Daniel, and the light cav upgrade. And knights looking for more damage back here. Lix is to push. Honestly, like everything by your main eco, except for a couple farms, is kind of fine. So I think you just go for it. Daniel's still looking for more monks with that scout. Daniel will see the units coming in here from Lix. Drops the relic. Quickly walls. Gets a conversion. Well played there, Daniel. Will take out some losses here. Daniel hoping to deal with this. Another monk. Lix he just engages against the monks. He just gives Daniel conversion every time. And now Daniel's underneath the TC over here. And Daniel still is enough to defend. A lot of the units are weak for Lix. He doesn't have the numbers of Daniel. Daniel needs 3 wins here today. It has to be 3 wins. If it's 2, he will be in 4th place. But if it's 3, he will go to 3rd and he will go to the playoffs. And he's playing amazing, guys. He really is. And Lix adds the light cap, but he doesn't kill all the monks because Daniel has the spearman. And Daniel's got to be feeling right now like, okay, I think I've got this one. Because he's weathered the storm. He's finding villager kills now. He's not seeing many knights. He's not seeing many monks from Lix. Again, based on what I've seen Lix this season, I do think that Lix's approach is actually good here. You're not going to... Daniel is an insane talent. And he's really good on open maps. Trying to switch into the archers and spears was a good attempt. Trying to go heavy on monks and knights and staying with lesser eco was also a good attempt. He just simply couldn't get the snowball rolling. And Daniel was just wise to it every time. Like, look at this! Look at this. He misses out on that monk, but he's looking there. He's looking here. It's like, bam, you make a monk. I kill a monk. I don't care how cheap it is. So insanely active here. I'd like to see the pike upgrade from Daniel. He has 9 spears. It feels like that would make sense. Maybe even the +2 attack upgrade would make sense, because that applies to the knights and the spears. He's 40 villagers ahead. It's not good for Lix. And Lix has never really been able to get the numbers he needs and find the spots. I mean, there's still a lot of exposed eco for Daniel. It's the problem with having this much eco, I guess. Here's Lix. He's trying to attack at 2 different spots, guys. So he attacks here while also attacking here. Daniel will defend in this area. Takes out the light calf. That poor monk went the wrong way. And Daniel has to defend here. Has his own monks waiting, hoping for conversions. We'll get some conversions. We'll lose villagers. Meanwhile, villagers from Daniel still attacking. He could just defend with the 40 villager lead, but he attacks and he will find kills. And he has like 12 knights in queue, right? So he should be able to defend from this. He's even chasing this down. And then Lix has to leave his woodline. So Daniel has still ended up killing more villagers than Lix here. And the game ends. And Daniel, I don't know if he's feeling pressure now. Like more or less pressure heading into game 3 than he would have before coming into the series. Because I think there was the pressure of like needing a 3-0. Knowing you should win, I think that can add a little bit of stress to the situation. I don't know, but... I mean, I feel like with how game 1 went, and now with how game 2 has gone for you, you should just be like, let's go. Playoff time for me. Let's do this as you head into game number 3. It will be on Migration, a map that Daniel had an amazing game on in his previous round against Running, and a map that I think Lix has yet to win on, but... And again, unfortunately for Lix... He is 0-14. 0-14. And I don't know how many monks Lix made in this game because it wasn't more than the most created unit, which was knights. But he made, like, I think twice as many monks as Daniel did. And total conversions, 14-4. And I really wish I had a stat on how many monks went down to Daniel's scouts and light cav. At least 10 would be my eyes. Would be my guess, sorry, not my eyes. And Daniel, of course, collected, what was it? Collected almost 10,000 more resources, had a lot more food and wood. Made it look very, very easy there. Very well played. Okay. So in the blue, we've got Daniel, who needs this win to end up going to the playoffs. In the red, we have Lix. Guys, what a storyline this would be. Lix is 0-14, which is so horrible and so sad, right? But if he wins this game, he ruins Daniel's chances at going to the playoffs. Now, if you make it to the playoffs, you get more money, okay? If you make it to the playoffs, you obviously get to continue to play, and thus could move to the quarterfinals, could move to the semis, could win to the final, win the whole freaking thing, which means S-tier tournament win and means more prize pool as well, right? Like, we just moved beyond the group stage to an actual bracket. That's when, like, the real serious stuff starts. In my opinion, Daniel is that caliber of player. And the player he is essentially competing with to get there, even though he's not playing him now, is Valis. Valis sits at 8 wins. Daniel sits at 7. And when Daniel and Valis had played, I believe it was even week 1, Daniel won 2-1. So if you could make an argument, well, Daniel, he's the better player when compared to Valis, and at least he showed that in that series. But Valis was able to get that 1 win off of Doubt. Daniel got 3-0'd against Doubt, and it's just like every single game matters. So, anyways, Japanese versus Italians is a pretty meta matchup here. Dravidians was on the ban list. Players are finally realizing that Dravidians are freaking busted on this map. And so they're just not allowing the opponent to ever have a chance to pick it. If you look at the draft here, is well thought out, in my opinion. So Lix, he banned the Dravidians and he banned the Aztecs, which is, I guess, something he didn't want to face up against. But his very first pick was this one, Japanese. So Lix thought about this early on. I'm sorry I didn't cross off the civs they already played with. But first pick for Lix, can he get a win? It would be devastating for Daniel if 0-14 Lix could win this game. I think it'd be interesting to give Monks a fixed conversion. Yes, you can delete, so what? You can do that right now too. Maybe I'm just in a rough mood today. I feel like I'm in a pretty good mood. Let me just say this. I'm really happy that pro players and also like stream viewers do not have the capability to change Monks. It's really important to the game. I'm not saying Monks are necessarily perfectly balanced, but when I feel like the situations in which certain pros and like a certain commenter randomly, may bring up them wanting to change Monks, oftentimes it's in a position where I feel like Monks haven't actually paid off as well, and we've seen solid counters, But people have been talking a lot about the Monks. Maybe it's because people have been so vocal about it. It's, other people have realized. But like previous game, Lix made double the amount of Monks. He got 4 conversions, and he lost like 15 to 20 Monks. Because Daniel played into Eco and Lycav. Daniel played very, very well there. Now, go all the way back to the first week and the second week when I was casting Lix, and you will find that I was very critical of him because I didn't like his approach. And I was like, Lix, this is not what people are doing. Just simply watch games in gold. Lix, that strategy had no chance of success. No chance of success. This was bad. That was bad. That's kind of what I said. We're in week 5 now. Lix has died on migration multiple times. He probably has got to see how other people are playing it. And I'm liking the approach a whole lot more here for him. He's going to be adding fishing ships. And he's going to most likely go fast castle, which is going to be the same thing from Daniel. Now, where I was critical of Lix was not so much even just the fast castle and the fishing ship numbers. That was part of it. But it was how is he controlling the middle area. And that's the key on this map. Now, Dravidians are best at that because of all the wood bonuses that they get. We don't have them here. Italians save wood because of the cheaper fishing ships, but then the Japanese save wood because of the cheaper mills, mining camps, and lumber camps. So, as I think about this, I think it's very close between these two civs. You then have the Italians with the cheaper dock techs. And you have the cheaper dock techs in combination with it being cheaper to go up to the next stage. So there's some big savings there. Like Japanese, their savings solely is based on the wood. And they should be using that wood to try and go for a barracks and a stable in the middle. To control the middle area. And not spilling any Daniel secrets here. He could go to the playoffs. But again, to repeat what he said, as we talked a little bit, he just said he thinks that migration is the highest skill-based map in this season's pool. I'm trying to think if I agree or disagree on that. Honestly, it's up there. I will also say I think it is the highest civ-based map in this season's pool as well. There's like 3 civilizations which can play the elite level type of migration that players would want. We have 2 of them here. Daniel's going to click up. Lix making a transport ship already. This is so much better from Lix in this migration game than what we saw in the previous rounds. And it's just, I think his experiences have shaped how he views the map. And so he's able to come here with better strategy. Now, will he just bring the scout? Or is he going to bring a villager as well? Okay, brings the vill. So, hasn't queued Loom yet. Hasn't researched Loom yet either. So, the villager will be exposed. Daniel also has a transport on the way. Daniel will go barracks at home. Now, I do think it makes more sense to try and get the barracks to the middle. Oh, Lix is going forward dock. Lix is going full water. He's not going map control in the middle. So his, it's still risky. It's the same thing that he just got clapped with the last time, but he's just getting here faster with the Vill for the forward dock. But still no loom, which means Daniel could easily kill the villager. Oh boy. Oh boy. What he's trying to decide on what he does here, Lix. Oh, you can't. Oh my god, dude. You just can't. You can't do it. You can't sit here with no loom and expect me to get excited for you. He's making the blacksmith in the middle with no loom. Ah! The villager's so exposed. And then if the blacksmith were to get denied, that's 150 wood down the drain. Daniel's getting loom. Using his noggin over here. He's going to click up and he's going to see this. Oh my god. Guys, if Daniel doesn't see this and he doesn't punish it, there's a chance that Lix could ruin Daniel's chance at the playoffs here. And people are just talking about really weird monk suggestions in my chat, which just makes me so happy. So happy. Oh my god, Daniel missed it. And Lix is... he's gotten bailed out. This is like... something that Daniel could have possibly seen. Daniel's thinking is stop Lix from doing anything on land, which is a good strat. But he just doesn't see this. He will see it here in a second. God, I cannot straight... it pisses me off. Just passing? Okay. I need to cool it for a second. This is week 5. You have died to scouts in the... oh! You have died to scouts in the middle so many times already. Why are you walking out with no army support? Anyways, villager's gonna die. Credit to Daniel. The good part about this for Lix is that he's got that forward dock down, then he has the potential to stream fires into the economy here from Daniel. And if he kills Daniel's fishing ships, Daniel, while he will have the villagers in the middle, Daniel could still have some real problems. Daniel actually wandering over here with this villager to dock over there. It's just a pretty far journey. But there has been stubbornness from Lix this whole season. And we'll see if he can play straight water here with no land control. He will have no villagers in the middle, guys. But he will have a ton of ships. Sorry for my emotions. It's just... it's like it's one thing to come in and have not practiced before, which, you know, live your life. But then to like not to have certain things happen and then just continue to try the same thing that didn't work the other time. It frustrates me a little bit. And I don't know if it should frustrate me as much as it does, but, you know, I'm an emotional guy. I hope you guys at least understand, as Lix's forward dock lands a pretty dirty demo there. And that's exactly what the forward dock is meant to accomplish. That villager being dead, it might not end up mattering if Daniel falls behind too heavily on water here. And Daniel's done a good job to defend on the left-hand side. He also is going to try a forward dock. And this gets really messy from here. Remember, Lix's fishing ships are Japanese fishing ships, so they're very strong. Lix needs to find a way to use the transport. Now, he's over here right now, so he's got some of his fish there, his other fish there. So they're kind of split up. But Daniel has dealt with this very nicely. He killed the villager. He's active with his light cav in the middle. Or they're not light cav, sorry, just scouts. And he said, fine, we're playing heavy into water. Let's do it. I'm going to use the cheaper dock text to get careening now. And Lix, who took the risk to get the forward dock down, has lost the dock now. And it is a straight water war where Daniel has 13 more ships than him. And has a forward dock himself. And is taking better engagements any way you look at it. You look over here. That's could be a better engagement for Daniel if he micros back. Oh my god, that's sick. It's really sick micro. Over here, he's got the numbers. And I am not celebrating the fact that someone may end up going 0-15 in the group. That is obviously sad, especially with a player like Lix, who I've been a big fan of for a long time. But I think even in this game, even in the final game, you've seen the preparation from Daniel and the strategic prowess from Daniel being so much stronger. He will kill the only other villager that is in the middle with the scouts. Amazing play. He's clamping down on water here. He's also pressuring with water here. Lix is really heavy on stone, so I think he's so scared that if he comes to the middle, he'll be killed by something. So he maybe wants to drop a castle towards the middle. But you would need to have the navy to be able to do that. And Daniel's still all over him on water. And I don't even know if you can transport the villagers to the middle now if you're Lix. Like, he's added the spearmen now, right? We talked about the wood savings. You can do it. You can have the spearmen with your villagers when you go to the middle. That is not with, that is not something that I would hate, and I think it would be achievable. It is certainly achievable with the Japanese economy, and from what I have tested and also casted plenty of times. And now I think the only way Daniel loses this game is if this transport comes to the middle and somehow does something. And Daniel's imping right now. Okay. Well, I mean, 2 scouts can't kill these villagers. Lix doesn't have the spearmen, which is kind of funny. So he's going to have to wait for the spearmen. Yeah, so the scouts can't kill the vills. Daniel's Imperial Age isn't on the back of a lot of land control. I mean, Lix is also going to imp on 1 TC, which is kind of interesting. Lix is going to drop the castle. He's getting dominated on water here. He doesn't have buildings, so he has to wait for the TC to complete before he can click up to imp. Daniel's not on stone yet. I'd like to see him go to stone. Still no TC in the middle from either player, but Daniel will probably just make more ships, I guess, when he's an imp, and go for fast fire ship, which is pretty cheap. TC in the middle is a positive, though. Right? Because at least you're creating more villagers in the mid, which Daniel has not done. Daniel does have 17 fishing ships working all around the map as well. He did this against running, too, where he just uses all the fish in a lot of different ways. Still could go kill the fishing ships here from Lix. Surprised Lix has so many fishing ships, to be honest. And Lix won't have anything to treb down, but I guess he could make trebs. I wonder if Daniel goes chemistry. Does he have a university? That would make sense. I think chemistry for Daniel, whose resources collected is much higher because of... I think it's much higher, actually. Let me just check that. Yeah, it's much higher in every way. He's had a better balance. Fast fire ship, monk upgrades, chemistry, so Daniel can probably make bombard cannons to pressure this castle. Lix has no way to take out Daniel's fishing ships, which are spread out all throughout the map. Daniel's fishing like a madman, and then the fishing ships for Lix that he had remaining will go down. As long as these fires start to attack. This could be good. Temporarily anyways for Lix. But unfortunately, he just passes the fishing ships. He just seems to be really focused on lands, maybe. And he is going to YOLO monks. Now, like, Daniel still has the stable. But it's kind of awkward to go light cav if there's a castle there. Still think maybe Daniel could consider it. If Daniel wins this game, Daniel goes to 3rd place. He goes into the playoffs. He's played amazing Age of Empires today. I mean, what a recovery, right? Like, That forward dock could have been a nightmarish situation for him. He just dominated Licks pretty much the whole series, and it's been unfortunate for Licks. Unfortunately, that's been kind of the case every single game. We've got a couple condos. We've got some spearmen, some scouts, some knights, some monks. Is Daniel an AI? I haven't played against an AI in a while. Oh my god! He's going to transport this tiny little army to Licks' island. Let's go! You can't counter everything. And Licks just taps out and calls the GG, and that's the end for Licks. Yeah, listen. Licks just didn't... He was a bit slower than everyone in the group. And honestly, the strategy wasn't there. Anytime someone's promoted to Plat, you have to come in and you have to be ready. And Daniel was ready. And Daniel was promoted just like Licks. And Daniel, he will move on to the playoffs. Third place is guaranteed for him. And a very solid performance from him. We saw different settings, but slightly different settings anyways, for each and every game here, right? From the Coast to Mountain game, where Licks had the pretty strong start, to Land Madness, to this. Daniel clearly just far and above the better player. And he ends the season on 8 wins in the group stage. Licks, unfortunately, at 0. But yeah, maybe I'm being too brutal. It's just hard for me to feel too bad for Licks when I just didn't see any type of adaptation to what he had encountered in the previous rounds. Like, I'm casting 12 games a week, and I'm remembering with detail some of the tweaks that Licks could have maybe learned from and tweaked. This didn't happen from him. So let's input the final results. For those watching live, this will have spoilers for what happened earlier, but important that we show it. It put more pressure on Daniel that Valis had won 3-0 earlier. But Daniel was able to tie Valis, and he wins on the tiebreak because he has another set won. And also, even if they ended up with the same amount of sets won, Daniel had beaten Valis and would win the head-to-head there. So that's the end of Group A after 5 weeks, guys. Yo with 14 wins and 1 loss, first place. Now 11 wins, 4 losses, second place. Daniel and Valis both with 8 wins. Daniel third, and then Valis fourth. And Running and Licks will be relegated down to gold for the next season. Now, I don't know if this has been updated. It's been a little janky. Well, actually, you know what's probably better for this is maybe just Liquipedia. Let me just try Liquipedia real quick, because I don't know if it'll be updated, but at least we should see where he is. So that's third place in Group A. So third place in Group A, Daniel is going to be up against Leary in the round of 12 playoffs. And we knew when we saw that either Viper or Leary would be first, that it would be awkward. So Daniel versus Leary. That's going to be a wild series. Going to be a tough matchup for Daniel, but honestly, I think, now this sounds crazy, like he can get wins against Leary. And there's certain maps where I think he could possibly make it happen. I'm going to give him a 15 or 20% chance because Leary's Leary. But I think 15 to 20% chance to potentially beat Leary is going to be fantastic. But, I mean, that is kind of what... Anytime you see someone who's in third place, they're probably going to be the underdog going in against second place. We'll see the same here, like second in Group C. That is probably going to be Andy or Hera. We don't know who yet. Would play third in Group B, who could be like Valeza or Dogao or ACCM. So big matchups. Congratulations to Daniel for moving on. That is the end then of Group A. So for the playoffs from Group A players, we've got Yo solidified into a quarter, Doubt up against Tato here, and then Leary or Daniel up against Leary. Still have to find out what happens in the rest of the groups, though. So obviously lots of spots to fill here, and then lots of spots to be relegated as well. And GG's.